So what are the feelings that bond humanity together? What are the things that really help us know that the separation we feel between us is not actually that separate? Greetings and salutations. I am Jeremy Tank. I am a brand coach and consultant, a master designer and rapid transformation therapy RTT practitioner, and a expert in behavioral branding. And my Facebook channel is pretty much here so I can talk about the stuff that happens in the quantum universe, in your own mind, in your own body, and help you understand that everything you're going through is perfectly normal. Right now and for the rest of your life, from the very beginning, is not just normal. You are exactly where you are supposed to be in your journey, in everything you are thinking, feeling, and moving through. You are, for lack of a better word, enough. I read an article this morning that was talking about the common things that people feel, the common things that people feel. This is by a therapist. So it was all the stuff that people are telling them about themselves that's wrong, to people telling them about their lives that they don't want to admit to other people, sometimes to themselves. And the common thing is that feeling of separation. When we're young, I would say before the age of 7, we have our brain in essentially a theta wave state. There's alpha, theta, delta, gamma, which is really high, and beta, which is pretty much where adults, you and me, are on a regular basis. We're in a beta wave, and that means that we get distracted by things. We have thoughts pop up. We try to chase different things. It's driven by stress, anxiety, a drive, purpose. And the thing is that beta has low beta and high beta, and the more stressed you get, the more fractalized your thinking, the more your brain actually shifts into this high beta state. And the thing is that low beta transitions into alpha, and alpha is just a nice, relaxed, calm state of being. And alpha transitions into theta. Just before you go to sleep or just after you wake up, your mind is in this theta state, and it's a perfect opportunity to talk to yourself and tell yourself all the good things about yourself that you really want your mind and your body, your subconscious mind, which to me exists in all of your body, exists in how you stand and how you speak and how you think throughout your day. And these two zones, that theta wave frequency, are really powerful for you, for your health, for your mind, for your state of being. And that theta wave is that same as if you were going into hypnosis, the same as if you were in a really deep meditative state, really imagining creative lands, right? The energy exploration, out-of-body experience, whatever you want to call it, because this is what you know about yourself when you're experiencing it, just before you fall asleep. What does that feel like? It feels light. It feels ethereal. You get different thoughts and different images in your head. It's really powerful. Now imagine that you're a kid again and you are going through that year after year after year. I mean, that's what it's like when you're born up to about 7. And it helps to train your brain, to train your body, to train both the conscious and subconscious mind, and actually parts of the other than conscious, other than subconscious, because there's middle grounds, right? We've got conscious, subconscious. We just created a spectrum. So there's a whole area in between that is a consciousness within you. And that theta wave state really helps you train that piece as a child so that you can learn how to be, how to react, how to exist within this community, this society. It is literally programming you with the beliefs, the knowledge, the structure for you to build the rest of your life. And there were some priests in the Middle Ages. Being a priest was a pretty popular thing in the Middle Ages, because if you weren't the oldest son, really, that was given land, given property, given opportunity to continue on your family practice, then your choices were basically going off to war, becoming a servant to somebody else, or joining the church. So lots of people joined the church. And there was, I think it was the Jesuits at the time, that said, give us your children and we will give them back to you after the age of 7, making them the man that they will become. They really understood this programming of the mind in terms of raising children up to about that age. So the interesting thing to me is when I read this article earlier today, it said that there were like 5 common feelings that people who talk to this therapist come up with. And those were, I feel worse than anyone knows. I'm not good enough. I'm crazy. I have secrets. And if anyone knew the real me, they wouldn't like me. I find it really interesting, those 5 things, because the commonality in that with what so many different therapists, alternative health healers, practitioners, people who are actually trying to help people who feel that they are broken, feel that they're not worthy, it's really this drive of separation. I'm not good enough. I need to do more, or I give up and I'm not going to do anything. I feel worse than anyone knows. I can't communicate how I actually feel. There are barriers to my communication, right? I'm crazy, which is really a self-judgment on the way that your brain processes and works. You're not crazy. Most of us are not crazy, or we're crazy in slightly different ways, because that's how being works. When you start to become your true self, you say things that other people don't understand. This goes back to the communication and the barriers. When you put up these barriers, it's hard to move forward in things. Secrets. I have secrets. Everybody has secrets. We keep secrets because of guilt and shame. These are feelings that emerge in our brain to keep us moving forward, and secrets are part of that, right? And then if anyone knew the real me, they wouldn't like me. That's a tough one, because again, that's barriers. That's not really allowing yourself to open up and share who you are with the people around you, meaning that the identity you are holding, I've said this before, you can't judge your own identity. Identity is seen from the outside in. You can't read the label of the bottle from inside the bottle, and you are standing in your own bottle right now. As judging that people, if they knew the real you, wouldn't like you, how will you know unless you become the real you? That's the trick about it. If you continually have that barrier up so nobody knows how you feel, and you hold your secrets, you hold all of this pain, you hold anguish in, no one will ever know the real you. And that's too bad. It's too bad. When I was training for rapid transformation therapy, the RTT guru galore, her name is Marissa Peer. She's the one that created, utilizing NLP, CBT, and a couple other different things, putting all together, some psychology in this hypnotherapy program, rapid transformation therapy. What she recognized was that people often go to therapists for years and 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 never really get down to core changes. And to her, part of that was because of that subconscious mind bringing up these feelings of survival, but it's just fear and trauma that have trained that survival. And she, through hypnotherapy, says, if we bring people down into that theta state, that's the state where they learned some of these rules, some of these behaviors, some of these classic ways of being as a very young child, and then use that opportunity to reframe those feelings, then they don't become the story that is predominant in the brain, in the subconscious mind, in any of it. And what she identifies as the 3 primary problems with people aren't problems really, but it's the perception from all of life that have happened. And it's interesting that her 3 primary things, which are, I'm not enough, which correspond with that other therapist, I can't, or it's unavailable to me, meaning if you feel like you can't do something, you feel like something is always out of reach, or that you aren't enough, right? You aren't enough. You need to change. You need to change who you are, change how you do things, and you can't for some reason. That is the core feeling that she sees in patients. And then I am different, so I'm unacceptable the way that I am, and I need to change. And these really correspond with that article I read earlier. And it's interesting because it also corresponds with a couple other people that I follow, that I read, like Alan Watts and Ram Dass and all of these guys. Like, there is this feeling predominant in society that whatever we are, whoever we are, is not enough. That whoever we are, whatever we're doing, it prevents us from living the life that we want to live, that we choose to live, that we envision, that we want to embrace, that it's not available for some reason. And then there's the whole idea of being different. If you're different, it's bad, right? Traditionally, that caveman, that Neanderthal side of us needs community. We have evolved as a species to need community in order to grow, to get that belief structure, that familial structure, that's the community structure in those early years. And if we feel like we don't fit in with our family, or we don't fit in with friends, we don't fit in at school, we don't fit in at all these instances, it brings out this feeling of I am different. And when you are different, at least on the Neanderthal level, that's dangerous, because that means you might not get food, you might not survive, honestly. I mean, the food, shelter, life, reproduction, that is pretty much the end of your line in Neanderthal thinking. So I am different can be really dangerous in the brain. So where some of this grows from, where some of this comes from, is the idea that there's this separation. We see ourselves as separate from each other. We see ourselves as separate from the planet, separate from our lives, separate from just being, existing, living. It's the Tao, the way, right? Wu Wei, meaning the way of effortless being, the way of, nobody can say what the Tao is, because the Tao is the way. It is just the way. It's the flow of life. It's the flow of the universe. It's the flow of energy. It's the flow of all that kind of stuff. And when you're living Wu Wei, you're living with effortless being. You are just living and understanding that you, just being you, is perfectly good. But we've trained most of each other through parental training, parental trauma response, parental overbearance, parental, I keep thinking helicopter moms. Helicopter moms or absentee parents, whatever that looks like, it creates effects in the offspring. And some of these things, what they find is they can actually alter us on a genetic level, and it tends to stick with us for 4, 5, 6 generations on a genetic level, when that is something that is built in. And knowing how powerful the subconscious mind is, when you build something in like, I'm not enough, my children will never be enough, it's never available to me. I'm speaking in negatives right now, and that's really difficult for me, because I choose to change the way that I view things so that these negatives aren't true. But understanding, and I've said this in the past, you have to kind of run against that wall of fear, of anger, of what is not there. And I wanted to use this video today, which is going to be kind of a short one because I'm almost finished here, to just show you what that sounds like. Because it's not enough to stop and, oh, hey, Amy, nice to see you. It's not enough to say, okay, well, I'm feeling scared, I'm feeling fear, I'm feeling I can't go forward. I know I need to do a thing, but I'm hitting a wall somewhere. It helps to identify, right? Joe Dispenza says that education leads to transformation. Well, this is the education I wanted to share with you today. These are the sorts of things that when you hear them, when you feel them, they cause huge reactions in your subconscious mind. They cause huge reactions in your active experience. They tend to capture your attention and divert it to some other experience so that you don't have to face the pain. I'm not enough. I can't do that thing because I'm not enough. I can't get up on stage for karaoke because I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I don't sound good enough. I can't sing well enough. I say that's a personal thing for me. I'm scared to hell of karaoke. I love to sing, and I am scared of stepping on stage of other people. I am afraid of the judgment of them. I am afraid of being different, right? I'm different, so therefore I'm afraid of that community. These are things that happen in me. I'm a real person. This is like the three-dimensional Jeremy. I'm good at certain things. I am bad at certain things. I still long for certain things. I'm still growing. And that's powerful because that's all of us. This whole journey of life is us growing and finding these challenges, finding these points, finding where we feel down or thrown aside or thrown asunder, thrown under a bus, and learning to grow beyond that stuff. So I guess the last piece I would just want to share today, and of course, I'll throw my little web address sales pitch kind of thing on the end of this, but it's not about that because I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to share my knowledge and share what I know about the mind, share what I understand about motivation, share what I understand about behavior, share what I understand about just general life, and trying to understand that you have control at every given minute about the way that you process up here. And when you learn how your mind works, when you learn how your body and mind work together, You learn to listen for these cues, these negative things that pop up, and then you can stop. And honestly, yeah, Teresa, I love you, my friend. The biggest thing you can do when any of these things pop up is reassure yourself. And by that, what I mean, I've said this before, you got to feed your mind a proper diet. You feed your body, you work out so you get stronger. Your mind needs to be trained. So many people these days, we've gone through the experiences of life and society, and we haven't trained our minds properly. We haven't trained ourselves for creative problem solving. We haven't trained ourselves to understand and seek and relate to one another. Because it's easier to work with the contrast that happens in the brain. One of the primary functions of the brain is contrast. That's what sets up the idea, the feeling of time, of good and bad. Contrast is the way that we live in this very physical particle material world. So the biggest thing is that when you think those thoughts, when you hear them, and honestly, sometimes I hear my mom's voice, sometimes I hear my dad's voice, sometimes I hear my brother's voice, my wife's voice, like all of these people pop in my head saying things like this to me on a regular. Because I'm like you. We're all trying to just get by and figure this thing out. So if you hear any of those, and I'll go through them again. I feel worse than anyone knows. I'm not good enough. I'm crazy. I have secrets. If anyone knew the real me, they wouldn't like me. I can't. It's unavailable to me, and I'm different. If you hear these things in your own head, the first thing I want you to do is to and I know this sounds a little woo-woo, but I want you to ask your inner self, is that true? Is that true? And why are you saying that? Why are you saying that? And if you listen, and this is the thing that people aren't really so good at these days, if you really listen to yourself and deep down you listen for the response, whatever that sounds like. It can sound like a thought, it can look like a picture in your head, but there is a communication that goes on when you ask yourself questions. Listen to that inside voice and go with it. Because it's going to tell you a story, and it's going to be a perspective of a story. And that is part of the identity you are giving yourself within that story. And I guarantee it's not the whole story. Pareto principle, that's like 20% of the story. The other 80% you don't even know. That 80% influences 20% of your life, but that 20% of your story that you are giving yourself influences 80% of your behavior because it's mirroring back what you think. And that's your opportunity. That's your opportunity to stop and say, I am enough. At any given moment of the day, should something happen, I am enough. I am enough to respond. I am enough to help. I am enough to just be me and come up with answers and thoughts that I would give because I'm me, right? That's all it is. At any given moment, it's always now. Don't focus on the past, don't focus on the future, focus on now. And in that given moment, do you have any responsibility? Right here, right now, just be you, whatever that is. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to force yourself into a state of mind of thinking that the future is better, so you need to change for the future. Just be you, because you are enough. And that means you're not broken. You're not crazy. You're not broken. There's nothing that needs to be fixed about you at all. Everything you feel and every part of this struggle, this life, this thing you're going through, this is a feature, not a bug. Something I learned in the software world when I was helping Brand Siegel Scientific. It's a feature, not a bug. And when you look at it that way, it gives you a different perspective. It gives you the opportunity to start really using those features, training them, right? Creating a new system in your life, a new process that helps you see that because this is a feature, not a bug, you can actually participate with the features. You can actually play with the features. You can actually ignore some of the features. Bugs are problems to be overcome. Your life is not about problems. Your life is about experiencing. You are enough in any given moment, and you are not broken. And you are worthy. So live it, love it, feel it. If you're interested in my work, my branding work, my corporate work, any of that kind of stuff, check me out on thinktankcreative.net. I have a great process that is all about your vision, your brand, your goals, bringing it all together. I call it manifest design because it really is utilizing all of these structural tools that are classic design, branding, identity kind of tools, along with rapid transformation therapy, which is all about changing the tools up here. Because when you are strong and we are training your mind in the right way and we are helping you take the right steps in the right direction, you can't help but manifest all the things you want in life when you embrace that you are enough, you are worthy, you are not broken, you are wonderful. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.